Right, let's jump into this. So obviously, Blair, when we do this, the good, the bad, and the ugly for, we always have the guest give his point first. So what was your good point? What was the good point we are bringing to the table here?
I did spend a little bit of time thinking about it. I wanted to go with, you have the obvious, you have, the phase win and everything. I wanted to go with Spirit, right? I think they're a team who surprised everyone. Every one of us were very impressed with it. I can see Maui already smiling. I feel like that's the obvious one. A little bit of a laugh there. Yeah, Spirit for me was a really good surprise overall, right? Because you look at this team, the way they kind of, did this entire rebuild phase at the end of last year after the previous major, and the fact that they're able to reach the semifinals, and mind you, that was a very close series as well. They had in the top four finish they got at the end. And considering some of the youngsters over there, and at every step, it felt like I said it myself. I put it out there. I'm like, listen, they're going to fall now. RMR, fine, they made it. They're going to choke in the play-in stage. They didn't. Then they hit the legend stage, again, delivering against some pretty decent opposition as well. They hit the stage. I'm like, now they should be choking. Now there's some of these kids like Pacy and Siren should be shitting their bed. No, sure. They still delivered. They still were able to go toe-to-toe. They seem to have the fire. And for me, it's kind of like we lost that VP core, right? It's no longer going to be that Outsiders lineup. We're never going to ever see that lineup again. It's kind of unfortunate that it kind of fell apart that way. But on the other hand, we find the Spirit lineup. So for me, that was like the bright side of this major.
I think the Spirit lineup that is doomed to fail. I think that they are the Copenhagen Flames of the previous major without the fact that you're going to see a bounce back from them in the upcoming major. I don't see any chance that what they can do is replicable. I think that there is actually decent structure to the style that they played, in that they had actually pretty good flash assists. In the Challenger stage, they had the best flash assists of any team.
Okay,
but when then you go in the legend stage, they had some of the worst flash assists. They had pretty average trading. And I think that when you look at this team, what made them exciting is that they won every 50-50 duel, because literally all 5 players had over 100 hours in the past 2 weeks. And I look at lineups in the past that did something like that overachieved because they had numbers like that. And I think of 2017 Gambit Krakow, where they won the major, and you look at how they won some of the rounds that they won, and it doesn't even make sense. Like, Adren was just pushing into like T's that were executing onto his bomb site, and then he would kill 3 players as they're throwing nades. It's just like his game sense in that moment was at a higher level than it will ever be again. And I think that's kind of where Spirit is. And I think that when you watch those games back, you'll be like, how the hell did they do so well? Because other than winning gunfights, it doesn't feel like the structure of that team had anything to do with it. So props to Spirit for accomplishing what they did, but that's just a symptom of the fact that when you do put 50 hours in per week at this job at Counter-Strike, you will actually overperform, mechanically speaking.
Yeah, I also feel like that could be because they don't have the coach as well, right? They're one of the teams who had their coaches.
Oh, that's true. Yes, of course. Yes.
Yeah, Hallie. At least based on an interview where I think it was the CEO and I think Chopper chipped in as well. They said that this is a guy who really helped us from the tactical side of things. So it could be in the server in the moment. They didn't have that 6th man, right? They had to just rely on whatever they had. And I feel like considering the circumstances, and I agree with you, yeah, sure, there were a lot of 50-50 fights. They didn't put in a lot of hours. The individuals were insane. Patsy was phenomenal considering how young he was as an entry. Probably one of the best entries in this event altogether. But I'm actually going to be a little bit more optimistic. I feel like want to give them a few months to see if they can kind of replicate something like this in a bigger event, right? But I'm still going to side by the fact that there is certain promise in this team. And even some of the names that took down and all the circumstances around it, I feel like they were able to still deliver. And I feel like that deserves that credit.
I'm sort of between the two here, because here's the thing. As a team, I'm sort of with Maui Snake. I don't think the team can... here's the problem. This team, for real, not only could have been in the final if you saw the FaZe game, but quite frankly, with the situation with all Na'Vi and the fact that it would be a CIS... there's a world where they won this event. That's not even ridiculous. They would have been the craziest major winner ever in the history of the game. But that didn't happen. That was sort of the window where people still don't really take them seriously yet. They don't know how good they are. No one even knows who they are as a team. Like, one of them, I think the Siren guy's played his first fucking LAN ever. So it's like, no, you can't scout for that. You can't even look at the online game and know how he's going to play. So the problem is, as a team, I think the problem I have is they also did benefit a lot from some ridiculous like Swiss draws and things like that. And even when they would play a top team that's like a team that's bombing the whole event, you know. So the Furia one was the big win, obviously. That one was a big win. You can't say anything other than that. I mean, that's a team most people I noticed did not have Spirit Gun. A lot of people had actually Furia in the semis, and then Furia wrecked that one match, wrecked all the fucking diamond coins for loads of people who were still available in the running. But the issue I have is this: I do think actually on the talent angle, that is, you have to point at that, and there has to be something there, because the idea that you're having someone play as first LAN and they're doing that stuff up to that point in the tour, basically it wasn't until the end of the phase match people ran out of steam. They almost won that match as well. Like, they were in really good position. And I'll even add that into what you said about Halley. That's exactly where you want to coach in massive fucking games that are going to like OT, really close. You've had a lead, you lose it. Yeah, that's exactly where and God, you're playing against a Carrigan team, for fuck's sake. Like, you don't have a chance there if you can't take a time out and figure out, like, here's what we have to change up. Because you could see those were like OTs where, you know, when people have just tried every strat and they're like, right, back to the first one, you know, like, it's like that. You haven't got anything left in the tank. You've bloody tried everything. Whereas if you notice, that's actually part of why, like, FaZe Clan, for example, is still in this tournament. They could just keep going with stuff. They were like, right, try something else. Now let's try this. Isolate this angle. So I think they were in a tough position pacing that. So I think the cool thing for me is that they re-upped with talent. Like, remember, some of the names that left the team, people were like, wow, you're letting some die young go. And these are people who've been good in the past. You know what I mean? Like, these are people you thought, you're not going to replace that guy with a nobody. Turns out you are. So the key thing for me is more like the scouting they've got. And I think some of their players will make it. Like, let's be real. If they keep Dexter, that was the real story that fucking made you for them. That guy is just super legit now. We knew he was really good, like, online 2 years ago. We knew he was pretty good at the last major, but he sort of fell as the second stage came, like they all did. This was the one where people like him and Magic's actually just popped off, even in the later stages of the tournament. So I think it's a mixture of the talent, and then the other one's getting established. So I think they can be like an upset team. The problem is I don't buy they can be like a legit team, and like, I don't think they're going to challenge. You know,
I guess I can agree with you on that. Time will tell. But just to add on to what Maui said.
What's a sick run though? I agree.
Yeah, but compared to the Gambit run, for example, I'm sure, like, memory is failing me, but I remember them having some very favorable matchups as well initially, right? I'm looking at the teams these guys beat. Sure, Astralis, fair enough, but they were on a pretty hot streak coming to this major. They took down Furia earlier as well in the groups. They beat Heroic. Now, it's a best of one. Heroic in a studio environment, they are a beast.
So,
really
I'll challenge you right now, Bleh, on who on them beating Heroic on Nuke, because I watched that game very closely and I saw that Pacy individually just destroyed destroyed them. But when they played Sinners in the RMR, he got shit on. Shit on. So, like, how is this even possibly replicable that Pacy can destroy Heroic but get shit on by Sinners? Like,
but again, he played them in the past.
The MMA maths all over the place.
I don't believe in it. I don't believe in it.
Exactly. The MMA maths all over the place on that, boys.
Yeah. I don't think it's replicable. I don't know if he knows how he did what he did, personally.
All right.
I will say, though, like, to me, that team particularly, the others are all cool, like the Forza team, Re-Up in School, Entropic existing is good. All these things are great. But to me, the fact that they got these players out of nowhere, the real thing it suggests to me is, fucking hell, is that CIS/Russian talent scene insanely deep, boys. Like, holy fuck. How deep do they go? Because remember, when you're talking, this is the thing they always had wrong in their scene. They didn't used to have the IGLs and the supportive players and these other elements, right? They only had the aimers. Well, the joke is when you get those pieces in place, there's a million people who have sick aim. There's loads of people play Counter-Strike there. So the cool thing is there is like a pipeline of people coming through. Want to see more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or, you know, be a pleb and don't.